Welcome. This is part 2, and it will be the 8-speed side of the M008 shifter. Let's begin. Underneath here you're going to have a Phillips screw to remove and a number 4 Allen key bolt, or hex key bolt, whichever way you want to call it. So here we're going to have a number 10 nut to remove, and it will be removed clockwise. On the top here you have a spring and a plate that's holding it in place. We can slide that up and take off the return spring. And then following that there's a bushing, and underneath that bushing there's a gold coloured washer. Following that there's the lever that we can now remove. Underneath this lever there's a plastic nylon bushing. Let's remove the pull on the lever. There's a small little circlip that we can take off here. This is generally one of the issues you'll get on these older shifters. This one of these pulls, this one in particular, that becomes so gunky it doesn't return anymore. So there's the circlip that I just removed. We can now lift up the pull, disengaging it from the spring. The spring's hooked up underneath, larger tip on the top. Underneath here there's the return spring for the next lever. It's hooked up onto this part. We're going to flicker it up. There's a bushing right here. Underneath that bushing there's again another gold coloured washer. We can now lift up the lever. You have the seal. We're going to take off this plate now. There's a tiny little circlip that's holding that in place. Let's unclick that. Got it. We can now normally remove this plate. It's quite stuck on. Got it off. You can now remove the remainder of the mechanism in the body. This female part of the main bolt that's running through it can be removed. However, you're going to need to take off this large cover, which you kind of want to avoid, I think, because you might damage it removing it. So we're not going to do that because we don't need to. Let's take off that top pull. It's being engaged by a spring. I think I've kind of got it off. Yeah. The next pull has a circlip right here. We're going to need to take that off as well. I'm going to turn it around so that we can get it facing this way. There you go, got it. Whoops. Right, well, we got the pull off. And what just jumped was the spring for that pull. For the remainder, we're going to have this sprocket. There's a nylon cam. And then finally we've got the return spring for that cam. This part here you can remove from here, this bottom plate. However, we're going to leave it in place because it's in the right position. So I'm going to give everything a clean. Again, like I think I mentioned in the last part 1 of the video, I keep parts in groups, how I remove them, and when I'm going to clean them, I'm going to get a bit of degreaser, put them in a small pot, and I'm going to clean them in batches. So like this, like this, like this, and then I'm going to put them back onto a newer sheet of paper so that they're nicely separated, and I'm not confusing parts, which will then take more time to reassemble after. I'm going to be using Shimano grease for lubricating the internals of the shifter. You can use any other lithium based grease or even a Teflon grease, which is what I usually use to lubricate your shifter. So let's lubricate the parts that are going to have quite a lot of friction at one point. I'll add some grease as I go along if I need to. Right, well, first thing we're going to do is take the cam and its return spring. One tip is sticking outwards, and that's going to go into the slit of the underneath the cam itself. So let's insert that. Right, so there's going to be a tip of the spring there for that cam that's going to be sticking out right here. We're going to need to get it into the hole, which is there internally, this hole right here, not that one, this one. Now you'll notice when you're going to put this on that you can't actually turn it that far. The cam, it's getting blocked here against this pivot. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to grab something and go underneath and push the tip of that spring till it gets to that hole right here. It's not very difficult. So now I'm pushing it, and I'm just gonna I've got it. So now once it's in there, I'm going to push down and we're in. You can now recline it as well and make sure that the cam's fully seated inside here as well. Now grab that sprocket and we are going to place it in this position. So you need to slot it in the appropriate teeth, but you need it obviously to be in the correct position here. You'll see there's that part there, it's flatter here and it's going towards the south in perspective of where you're looking at the video, the direction you're looking at the video, sorry. By the way, when I mean seated, I mean that there's no gap here. You can see mine has a gap, so what you do is you can use a plier and then it will fully make it flat. Like so. If it pops out again, just make sure you put it back in place. Normally when we're going to start putting stuff down though, it will flatten it all together and there'll be a circlip as well holding things. So now we're going to put the pull on this one. Make sure you put some grease on that pivot. I removed quite a bit when I was working on it before. So you have this very big pull here that we're going to put down, but before we do that, we're going to put its return spring. Now the tip of that return spring there, the bottom, there's a hole right here. You want to put that tip into the hole right there, and that will be the shorter side of the spring. Now take the pull finally and start to put that on the top. Now you'll see that the other tip of the spring that we just put in is in the way. We're going to need to push the tip and put it in front of that slit right here. There you go. So It's going in front now, there, and now we can push that back and push it down. Now you want it to engage in that first tooth as well. Okay, and it should look like this for now. We now need to put that little circlip that goes into the slit right here. I'm using a plier to fully push down all the parts so we have access to the little slit that's right down the side for that circlip. There you go, it's gone in. And then we grab the other pawl. That also goes in front of the spring there. Like so. We're going to need to put now this plate here. There's a tab and it's facing upwards. There you go. I'm again going to push this down and give us better access to that little slit right here. We're going to need to put a circlip. Now grab one of the levers. So the part of the tab facing downwards is going to go into the gap right there. So aim for that. On top of this is the bushing with the copper colored washer that's kind of integrated into it. So we're going to have that facing downwards, and that's going to seat into the hole of that lever right there. Push down. Now take the return spring for the lever. So the hook part is going to go on that tab facing upwards, like that. And the other tip of that spring that's facing downwards is going to hook up onto the lever and going to go right here at the tip of my finger. I'm going to try and bring it towards there using a flathead screwdriver. Hopefully that will work. Okay, got it. So you see there it's hooked up on the end of that lever. Take the plastic seal, so that part that's a little bit there that's really flat, that's going to go downwards. And then after you can take the remainder of the mech, and we're going to seat that back into the body. So it's really obvious where it goes. There's a shape here at the bottom of this that plate. Push that all the way down. So you want that flat part to go where that lever is. By the way, these plastic seals here completely morph on quite a few of the shifters from that period. Thankfully they upgraded that, and they actually cause kind of shifting problems as well. Grab the last lever. So let's put that pull back onto the pivot right here. So we're going to grab the spring. So the tip that's a bit smaller, that's going to go first downwards. Take the pull. Push that downwards, and then the other hook is going to go on top of it. It should recline back like this. Then there's a little clip, clip to put there back. Underneath that there was this plastic nylon bushing, which we'll insert now. Grab the lever. What we're going to do is we're going to recline that pull a little bit, and essentially the pull is going to fit in between the spacing here where there's all the teeth on that sprocket. There you go. And then after that there is this bushing and another copper coloured washer that's going to seat within the lever itself. Like so. Oh, by the way, this should be in this position, so you'll see there's that little kind of part that's acting as a stopper. It's pushing against the lever. It's not able to go any further, and I'm pretty sure that that's going to be the first teeth there engaging. There's going to be the return spring for that last lever. Pretty sure that engages right there, that hook part. Like that. We're now going to take this last plate. Mine's actually got stamped 5 at the top. Maybe there'll be yours with another number, but that's the one that's facing us. So you want to engage it into the right teeth. They seem to be pretty specific. You just need to find which way it is. Normally it's towards this way though. Yeah, I think it's right here. I'll zoom in to that. So it should be like this, roughly. We're now going to put the nut down, and then we're going to bring this back into that little gap here. I'm going to put a tiny bit of thread locker. For the nut that we're about to put. And this is going to screw anti-clockwise. Don't screw that too tightly yet. We need to bring that spring back up to here, so we need a little bit of movement. Oops. Got it. Now you can finally screw that down. The reason I do it like this is because the spring overlaps itself very often. So by doing it like this, this procedure, you go quicker. I just noticed whoever worked on these before mixed up the bolts, and so the one I'm working on now has 2 spacers, and obviously it's meant to be on the other shifter. So I'm going to put it back onto the 3-speed shifter that I previously worked on. That makes a lot more sense. Now they both have one. Can now put the Phillips screw. All the way down. So let's test this. Yeah, it's all good. So if this video helped you repair your Shimano XT M008 shifter, please subscribe. Until next time, peace out.